If you wanted to eat one of the best meals in the world tonight, you would probably pull out your phone and search for a Michelin-starred restaurant. Chefs have mental breakdowns chasing that little red book. Diners fly halfway around the planet and stand in line for 3 months in the freezing cold just to get in. The rise and fall of the entire fine dining industry hangs on a single one of its stars. But here's a truth that goes against what you would expect. The most powerful food authority on earth, the organization that holds life and death power over the world's top restaurants, is at its core a factory that makes rubber tires. This is not a warm story about cooking, craftsmanship, and dreams. This is one of the longest running, most precisely executed content marketing campaigns in business history. It took them a full 120 years to let the world slowly figure out what was really going on. Today, I'm going to walk you through every gear inside this empire. From the muddy horse-cart roads of 1900, all the way to the golden keys of 2024. Our story begins in France in 1900, at the peak of the Belle Epoque. Paris was hosting a massive World's Fair. But if you tried to drive a car out of Paris in 1900, you were stepping into a war that might kill you. In all of France, there were fewer than 3,000 registered cars. No paved roads, only muddy wagon roads. No gas stations. If you wanted gasoline, you had to buy it at a pharmacy, where it was sold as a cleaning product. Flat tires weren't accidents. They were normal. Driving from Paris to Lyon and get 3 or 4 flats along the way was just part of the trip. A car back then was not transportation. It was a dangerous giant toy only the richest could afford. Most wealthy owners just parked them in castle garages to collect dust. This put a rubber factory in the town of Clermont-Ferrand in a death spiral. It was run by the Michelin brothers, Edouard and André. They had started with bicycle tires in 1888, then pivoted to car tires. But they had a huge problem. If nobody drives, tires don't wear out. If tires don't wear out, the factory goes bankrupt. Their solution is something any business school professor today would stand up and applaud. If rich people have no reason to leave the house, give them a reason they can't say no to. During the 1900 World's Fair, the Michelin brothers published a red-covered book. They printed 35,000 copies and gave every single one away for free. This was the first Michelin guide. But the contents were nothing like what you're picturing. It was basically a driving survival manual. Where to find a pharmacy that sells gasoline. Where the nearest blacksmith could fix your car. Where to pump up a flat tire. Where to find a clean hotel. And as a side note, which restaurants along the way won't give you food poisoning. Restaurants were just bonus information. The logic was crystal clear. As long as I can get you to take your car out on the road, your tires start wearing down. Sooner or later, you'll come back to buy more. This DNA is still running the show, 120 years later. And it explains why so many locals today roll their eyes at Michelin's rankings. From day one, the guide was never written for locals. It was written for out-of-town tourists who'd drive halfway across the country. Michelin kept this strategy up for 20 years. Every edition was free. Then in 1920, one chance discovery changed the guide forever. André Michelin went to visit a partner tire dealer. He walked into the repair shop and saw something that shocked him. The Michelin guide he had given away for free had been ripped apart. and the pages were propping up the wobbly leg of a workbench. Indre stood there silent for a long time. And then he figured out one of the most brutal truths in human psychology. People will never respect anything they get for free. Only when they've paid a price will they feel real reverence for it. That same year, the guide went through a history overhaul. Every decision hit a nerve. First, they started charging 7 francs a copy. Second, they removed all paid advertising and refused sponsorship from any restaurant. Third, they hired actual food critics and professionalized the reviews. These 3 decisions built a perfect moat. Charging gave it dignity. Turning down ads gave it the halo of independence. Professional reviewers transformed the book from a survival manual into a serious food guide. But I need to vaccinate you against one myth. When I say Michelin doesn't take money, there's an asterisk. Michelin truly doesn't take a dollar from restaurants. Inspectors pay for every meal themselves and get reimbursed. But who does Michelin take money from? They take money from tourism boards. This is an open secret. When a city wants to promote tourism and get rich foodies to fly in, the government pays Michelin a huge sponsorship fee to launch a local edition. Michelin doesn't get paid by restaurants. Michelin gets paid by countries that want to sell tourism. And keep this in the back of your mind. As the guide's influence grew, Michelin realized wealthy drivers were obsessed with finding truly great food. This wasn't just eating. This was social status, class, taste, and the competition for who had lived the most interesting life. In 1926, the star rating was born. In 1931, it expanded to the 3-star system we know today. And the definitions were written from a driver's perspective. 1 star, a restaurant worth stopping for. 2 stars, worth going out of your way for. 3 stars, worth making a special trip for. Stopping, detouring, making a special trip. Every definition is framed around the cost of driving there. This was never a book for finding the noodle shop around the corner. Those words, worth a special journey, are the deepest scheme of the entire empire. We'll circle back to them. What standards do inspectors use? Michelin publishes 5 core criteria: quality of ingredients, mastery of technique, the chef's personality and creativity, value for money, and the most ruthless one, consistency. Great one day and sloppy the next. No deal. 1 weak dish in your tasting menu. No deal. Pay attention here. The official rules say decor, service, and tableware are not counted in the star rating. So where did those factors go? Michelin uses a separate knife and fork symbol. 1 to 5 sets represent comfort level. And if the atmosphere is especially charming, the black forks turn red. So people who really know the guide look for stars plus red knives and forks. One more detail. Stars belong to the restaurant, not the chef. If a chef jumps to a new restaurant, the stars do not follow. To protect the sacredness of those stars, Michelin built one of the most successful information asymmetry systems in business history. The mystery inspectors. Worldwide, there are only about 100. The bar is ridiculous. A degree in culinary arts or hospitality. 5 to 10 years of hands-on experience. Strict tasting and writing tests. Months traveling the world eating with senior inspectors just to calibrate standards. And absolute secrecy. You can't even tell your friends what you do. They book under fake names, pay their own bills, and eat like any normal customer. The restaurant has 0 chance of knowing in advance. But what about subjective taste? Michelin's answer is to use collective subjectivity to approximate objectivity. A single restaurant gets visited multiple times in different seasons by different inspectors. When opinions disagree, they fight it out in star sessions until they reach consensus. This fear of the unknown is more powerful than any advertisement. Top chefs worldwide live under permanent pressure. Any stranger at any table could be an inspector. Chefs stop cooking for the customer in front of them. They cook for an invisible Michelin standard they can never actually see. The price of that pressure is something many people don't want to look at directly. In 2003, a legendary French chef named Bernard Loiseau, widely seen as a symbol of the French culinary spirit, shot himself at home. He was 52. He ran a famous restaurant in Burgundy called La Côte d'Or, which had earned 3 stars in 1991. The trigger was a rumor that Michelin was about to take one of his stars. One line from his final words is devastating. "Without my stars, I am nothing." Michelin announced after his death that they had never planned to change his rating. A star, marketed by a rubber tire company, cost a real-life genius his life. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a group of former starred kitchen chefs on Reddit who jokingly call themselves war veterans. Their testimony is brutal. 16-hour workdays, hourly wages lower than McDonald's, head chef screaming and throwing plates. After a few years, they lose their love of cooking entirely. And there's a deeper emptiness. When cooking becomes a performance of tweezers placing petals, and your own family could never afford to eat your food, that hollowness can swallow a person whole. Some chose to die, others chose to rebel. In 2005, Marco Pierre White, the youngest 3-star chef in history and the mentor of Gordon Ramsay, announced he was giving back every Michelin star. What he said afterward made people go quiet. "When I had 3 stars, I was a prisoner of Michelin. The day I gave back my stars was the day I finally became free." In 2017, French chef Sébastien Bras wrote to Michelin asking them to remove the 3-star restaurant he had inherited from his father from the guide entirely. He wanted the freedom to cook without living under the shadow of the stars. These choices reveal the deepest paradox in the Michelin system. A system built to celebrate culinary excellence has, in some cases, become a cage that strangles it. And here's something most people don't realize. Many Michelin-starred restaurants don't actually make money. A lot of them lose money every single day. A normal restaurant spends 50 to 60% of revenue on ingredients and labor. But 2-star and 3-star restaurants, chasing perfection, have insane ingredient waste. They might use only a third of an entire fish. 5 perfect flowers from a whole truffle. Staff count can exceed the number of customers. Even when dinner costs over $300 a head, net profit margin is often 3 to 5%. And sometimes they operate at a loss. It gets worse. The moment you win a star, you've signed up for a never-ending arms race. The unspoken rule is, because you're Michelin, you can never make a mistake. Handmade ceramic plates costing hundreds each. Crystal glasses that shatter if you look at them wrong. Expensive flowers. Sky-high rent. Cut corners. You might lose the star next year. A heavily upvoted Reddit comment sums it up. Chasing Michelin will not teach you how to make money. It will only teach you how to burn money. So why do so many people still race to open these restaurants? Top Michelin restaurants are used as brand showcases. Giant billboards. The chef or parent company pours money into keeping the flagships highly shining. And the real profit comes from everything around it. Spin-off restaurants at affordable prices, package meal collaborations, endorsements, hotel consulting, book deals, cooking schools. A Michelin star is a stamp of authority. The flagship itself may be a gorgeous man-loser, but the halo brings in real cash through all the mass-market businesses it enables. This also explains something else. The people who go insane chasing stars are rarely the small, honest owners sweating in their own kitchens. They are the big restaurant groups with deep-pocketed backers. From day one, every decision is engineered around one goal: win a star. Now let's come back to the most important phrase. Where's a special journey? If you study where 3-star restaurants are geographically, you'll notice a fascinating pattern. In the early decades, huge numbers of 3 stars were not in the downtowns of big cities. They were deliberately placed in the remote French countryside, small villages in the Rhone Valley, fishing towns in Brittany, old stone farmhouses deep in Burgundy vineyards, country lanes at the far end of a lavender field in Provence. Put yourself in the shoes of a wealthy Parisian back then. When you read that a restaurant is worth driving 300 kilometers to eat at, you don't feel rejected. You feel intrigued. For the rich of that era, driving your luxury sedan across France just to eat one meal was, in itself, a symbol of social status. It was a story you could tell at the next dinner party. Real cooking, at its heart, is about hospitality and connection. You put your heart into a meal so the person eating it feels happy. But the Michelin Guide, at its heart, is about capital and consumption. It converts the passion of chefs and the warmth of small shops into numbers on a ranked list. When you connect all of this, you'll see Michelin is a carefully designed giant casino. And in that casino, the only one who always wins is the house. Michelin and the tourism boards behind it are the house. By handing out stars like poker chips, they redirect global money flows, push up real estate prices in entire cities, drive waves of international tourism, sell millions of tares, and most impressively, manufacture a craving in the public mind. They've made ordinary people believe that only food they have certified counts as the highest form of cuisine. The old neighborhood flavors, built with nothing but craft and time, get pushed to the edges. The Michelin Guide has never been a pure food institution. Ordinary people want a life. Michelin sells a manufactured spectacle. It is a 100-year-long scheme, carefully designed around taste, stars, and human vanity. In a country that had no roads, the Michelin brothers used knives, forks, and stars to pave a highway for their own tires. A highway that's been running for 120 years and is still going strong today.